Tonight we begin with a development that traffic enforcement officials, legal experts, and highway patrol authorities had expected, anticipated, and carefully prepared for. A shift in enforcement that unfolded not over months or years, but in a matter of weeks. Weeks that have already resulted in thousands of unexpected citations. Weeks that have left countless American drivers surprised at traffic stops. Weeks that have changed what every single person behind the wheel needs to know. What law enforcement agencies across America did this year crossed the threshold that many drivers had assumed would remain. And when that threshold changed, police departments did not delay. They responded with updated technology, stricter protocols, and firm enforcement policies. If you're driving in the USA right now and you haven't checked what we're about to tell you, you could be the next driver pulled over, cited, or facing serious consequences. This isn't speculation. This is happening right now on highways, city streets, and rural roads across all 50 states. For several years now, there had been signals, not from official press releases, not from formal announcements, just signals that traffic enforcement agencies were preparing something significant. Police departments have been underfunded, yes, but they have been strategic in their responses to underfunding. Their enforcement priorities have followed a certain pattern, a rhythm, almost a predictability. But what set off concern among legal experts and traffic attorneys this year was that the pattern went silent. Law enforcement officials who monitor traffic enforcement trends know the indicators. The sudden increase in training seminars for traffic officers, the quiet procurement of new detection technology, the updated memorandums circulating within departments, the sudden pause in public awareness campaigns. All of that went quiet. And whenever enforcement agencies go quiet, it means something is about to get louder. What we're seeing now is the result of years of preparation finally being deployed. And the average American driver, they may have absolutely no idea what's coming. Early this year, legal monitoring organizations detected what they described as a coordinated enforcement shift, including updated citation protocols that had not been standardized in over 2 decades. These are the kinds of enforcement measures that police departments only deploy when they are signaling something very specific. A revenue-related push, a public safety crackdown, or a fundamental change in how traffic laws are being interpreted. Observers didn't know which category this fell into or whether it fell into all three at once. But what they did know was that law enforcement was changing its posture. And when state and local agencies shift enforcement posture without explanation, even by small measures, every driver should pay attention. Here's what you absolutely must check before your next drive. Number 1. Your driver's license status. Millions of Americans are driving right now with suspended, expired, or invalid licenses, and they don't even know it. New automated systems now cross-reference your license status in real time during traffic stops. That unpaid ticket from 3 years ago, it may have triggered an automatic suspension. That change of address you never updated. Your renewal notice went to the wrong place. Check your license status online through your state's DMV website. Do it today, do it now. Number 2. Your vehicle registration. Registration enforcement has intensified dramatically. Officers are now equipped with automatic license plate readers that flag expired registrations instantly before they even approach your vehicle. You won't get a warning. You'll get a citation. And in many states, your vehicle can be towed on the spot. The advisory issued by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration this quarter was not normal. It was not routine. It was not symbolic. It was urgent. Officials after internal review meetings described the current enforcement environment as active technology-driven and perhaps most importantly, unforgiving of documentation errors. But active enforcement only works if drivers are unprepared. You don't have to be. In fact, your preparation today could be among the most important steps you take as a driver. Here's what we know. Within seconds of running your plates, officers now have access to your complete driving history. These aren't the basic checks of years past. These are comprehensive database sweeps, systems that law enforcement only deploys when they are preparing to maximize enforcement efficiency. Number 3. Your insurance documentation. Here's something that catches thousands of drivers every single day. Outdated insurance cards. Your insurance might be current, your policy might be paid, but if you're carrying an expired insurance card in your glove compartment, you could face a citation. Many states now require electronic proof of insurance. Download your insurance company's app, screenshot your current card, keep digital and physical copies. And here's the critical part many drivers miss. Make sure your policy's effective dates are clearly visible. Officers are trained to check those dates first. Tonight, legal analysts confirmed that police departments launched updated enforcement protocols on documentation violations, including proof of insurance requirements that had recently been tightened for what officials believe was liability reduction purposes. Officers are now trained to verify before drivers can present outdated documents. They check registration validity. They check license status. They check insurance coverage through real-time verification systems that were likely prepared over the past 18 months. In other words, law enforcement is now targeting the documentation chain, the paper trail that proves you are legally authorized to operate a vehicle. This is what made the NHTSA's advisories so urgent. The enforcement shift wasn't just symbolic, it was actionable. It represented the kind of change that could affect millions of drivers if they remain uninformed. And drivers understanding that fully need to respond with preparation, not anxiously, not reactively, but strategically. Number 4. Your vehicle's safety equipment. Don't assume your vehicle is compliant just because it passed inspection. Check your headlights, both of them. Check your taillights. Check your brake lights. Check your turn signals. A single burned-out bulb is now a valid reason for a traffic stop in most jurisdictions. And once you're stopped, everything else gets checked too. Number 5. Your window tint. Window tint violations have skyrocketed in enforcement priority. What was legal in one state may be illegal in another. If you've moved, if you've purchased a used vehicle, if you've had aftermarket tint installed, verify it meets your state's current standards. Officers now carry tint meters. The measurement takes seconds. The citation takes even less. And here's where the story becomes even more concerning. Legal experts now believe that this enforcement surge was designed to test the preparedness of American drivers after years of relaxed pandemic-era enforcement. Departments wanted to see whether drivers would have updated documents readily available, but instead, the opposite is happening. Drivers aren't prepared. They're presenting expired documents, carrying outdated insurance cards, and driving with license issues they never knew existed. Offications are writing citations at rates so high, so consistent, that even court systems are noticing the influx. You don't get law enforcement's attention easily, but unprepared drivers are getting it every single day. Traffic attorneys speaking with media under anonymity described the enforcement climate as overly strict, a way to generate GDQ revenue while technically enforcing the law. But drivers can prove today that they remain both aware and prepared. Their documentation should not only be current, it should be organized so precisely that officers have no reason to extend the GDQ stop. That organization matters because it shows compliance and preparedness. It shows that you are not an easy target. UDQ as reports continued coming in throughout the quarter, we learned more about the scale of enforcement changes. State patrol units carried out documentation verification checkpoints, forcing thousands of drivers to prove compliance on the spot. Local departments targeted vehicles that had been flagged by automatic plate readers in the last 30 days. Highway patrol units operating in high-traffic corridors reportedly increased stops on commercial and passenger vehicles used by everyday Americans to commute. This wasn't just random enforcement. This wasn't just routine traffic work. This was systematic verification. This was coordinated documentation enforcement. And coordinated enforcement is the one thing unprepared drivers have struggled to navigate since these changes began. For every excuse drivers have made, law enforcement has responded with something that eliminates ambiguity. Number 6. Your vehicle's mechanical condition. Exhaust issues, visible smoke, loud mufflers, cracked windshields. All of these are now being cited with increased frequency. What officers used to overlook, they are now documenting. What used to result in verbal warnings now results in written citations. Get your vehicle inspected independently. Know its condition before an officer tells you about it. Remember, many drivers thought enforcement would remain relaxed post-pandemic. They thought budget constraints would limit traffic stops. They thought technology would never reach this level of integration. But tonight, the exact opposite is happening. Enforcement is stricter than ever. Budgets have been supplemented by federal grants specifically for traffic safety. Technology has advanced to real-time verification capabilities. Number 7. Your understanding of current laws. Laws change. What was legal last year might not be legal today. Hands-free device requirements have expanded to new states. Seatbelt enforcement has intensified in secondary enforcement zones. Move-over laws now apply to additional vehicle types in many jurisdictions. If you haven't reviewed your state's current traffic laws this year, you're operating on outdated information. What makes this moment so critical and so time-sensitive is that this enforcement surge happened at a time when local governments are under severe budget pressure. Municipal leaders want revenue. State officials want improved safety statistics. Federal agencies want compliance data. Insurance companies want reduced claims. Law enforcement is balancing these demands while managing limited personnel resources. And when agencies in that position increase enforcement activity, they're not doing it randomly. They're doing it strategically. They're doing it with efficiency as the primary goal. Number 8. Your behavior during traffic stops. This one could save more than just money. It could protect your rights. Know your rights. Know your obligations. Know the difference. You are required to provide license, registration, and proof of insurance when requested. You are not required to answer questions about where you're coming from or where you're going. You can politely decline to consent to a vehicle search. You should keep your hands visible at all times. You should inform the officer before reaching for documents. These behaviors don't just protect your rights, they demonstrate that you understand the process. The NHTSA's advisory, now distributed to state DMV offices across the country, was designed to signal that federal authorities are not willing to allow documentation non-compliance to continue unchecked. Officials said plainly that driver documentation failures were inconsistent with safe roadway participation. That is bureaucratic language for get your paperwork in order or face the consequences. You don't usually hear that tone from federal transportation authorities unless something serious is at stake. Number 9. Your vehicle's contents officers are trained to observe. They notice what's visible through windows. Open containers, even empty ones, can trigger expanded stops. Items that look like weapons, even if they're not, create officer safety concerns. Clutter that obscures passengers creates suspicion. Keep your vehicle clean. Keep prohibited items out. Keep visibility clear. Meanwhile, traffic attorneys addressed their clients in clear, urgent terms this month. They said the days of skating by with expired documents are over. They said real-time verification has changed everything. And they said the cost of a traffic attorney is nothing compared to the cost of accumulated citations. These are not marketing statements. These are warnings from professionals who understand just how high the stakes have become. Here's what makes the situation even more concerning. The enforcement surge isn't isolated. Along with documentation verification, insurance companies also increased reporting to state databases. DMV systems integrated with law enforcement networks. Courts increased processing speed for traffic violations. All of this happened within the same 12-month period. When multiple systems align at once, it means something larger is underway. Legal analysts are now considering several possibilities. One is that this enforcement surge is preparing drivers for eventual autonomous vehicle integration requirements. Another is that authorities are attempting to reduce accident rates through documentation compliance. A third possibility, the one concerning legal experts the most, is that this represents a permanent shift in how traffic enforcement operates. But today, prepared drivers can take that concern off the table. They don't have to worry about expired licenses. They don't have to worry about outdated insurance. They don't have to worry about registration lapses. They simply need to verify their documentation today. What we're watching now is a test of driver preparedness. Law enforcement wants to see who maintains compliance. Drivers need to show they understand requirements. State authorities want to prevent documentation-related accidents. And federal agencies want to ensure roadway safety standards are met. Tonight, we've heard from transportation officials who are now monitoring enforcement statistics closely. They say citation rates have increased by double digits in many jurisdictions. They say court backlogs for traffic violations are growing. And they say the enforcement surge is likely part of a multi-year strategy intended to permanently elevate compliance standards. But drivers are not helpless. In fact, drivers are empowered. Their preparation today, thorough, complete, and proactive, sends a message to law enforcement that they are compliant, and it sends a message to themselves that they are protected. As the year goes on, we expect more details to emerge about what exactly transportation authorities hope to achieve. But what we do know is that driver awareness right now is timely. It prevents citations, it prevents vehicle impoundment, and it prevents the stress, cost, and disruption of unexpected legal complications. What happens next will depend on what you do in the next 24 hours. If you verify your documentation, this moment will be remembered as the day you got ahead of the system. If you ignore these warnings, law enforcement has already shown they are prepared to enforce. They have shown they are ready to cite. And tonight, for the first time in years, driver compliance is under active scrutiny. Many vehicles are being flagged, too many. And when enforcement ramps up this dramatically, it means authorities are watching closely. It means they are choosing their enforcement targets carefully. Because tonight, American drivers need to learn something many have forgotten. Documentation compliance is not optional. Preparation is not paranoid. It's practical, and the system is designed to identify those who aren't paying attention. This story is far from over. But tonight, one thing is clear. The drivers who check their documents today will drive with confidence tomorrow. The drivers who prepare will pass their next traffic stop without incident. And the drivers who take this warning seriously will save themselves money, stress, and potentially their driving privileges. And we will be here watching every development as this enforcement era continues to unfold. Check your license, check your registration, check your insurance, check your vehicle. Do it now before police do it for you.